So if you're that person that not only hates the design, but hates absolutely anyone that likes it in any shape or form, go ahead and click that dislike button right now because I love it! Oh, and I'm going to talk about a theory I have regarding Sonic's age in the movie too, so stick around for that.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag.
Hello there, beautiful human. My name is RidersDX and welcome to my channel where today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Sonic movie and specifically a theory I have with the storyline of this movie regarding Sonic's age. And it sounds like a boring topic, but hear me out on this. I think this is actually something really interesting to talk about. But before we do that today, I just want to go ahead and share another piece of fan art with you. So this fan art comes from someone named Havoc Master. They posted this in my Discord server and this is a picture of Meadow Duckles on the beach getting that tan on, so I'm really loving it. And you actually see a SpongeBob on the bottom right. This is an awesome little surprise, so thank you so much, Havoc. This looks like a beautiful, awesome drawing, and I actually love what they did with Knuckles' head in particular. I mean Duckles, oh my gosh, not Knuckles, Duckles. Yeah, I love what they did with Duckles' head in particular. You see in the top right, they have a bit of a hairdo, so yeah, Meadow Duckles is getting that hair gel, I see. I love it, but yeah, thank you so much, Havoc Master. If Havoc Master has any links, then I'll be sure to leave it in the description box below. If they have a YouTube channel, I'll leave a link in the top right corner as well. So thank you so much, Havoc. So before I dive right into my theory, I want to take a quick moment to comment on the new picture of Sonic that's been circulating the internet since yesterday. So this is a picture of Sonic in the actual movie in motion. As you can see here, this is Sonic running on the streets apparently, and I'm not joking when I said that I love it. I actually love it, and I'm really trying to make sure that this is actually what I think, because I know that I've been one of the only people on YouTube that's been pretty light on the design and actually has shown a lot of positive feelings about the design in previous videos. So I was asking myself, do I really like this, or am I just trying to sell like an opinion to an audience? But I did bang my head on my desk. I did hit up Shadow for a Chaos Blast. I even hit up the Hashling Slasher, but he was busy working the night shift, so he was unavailable. But no matter what I did, and no matter how many times I looked at design, I still genuinely really like this picture. In fact, I could go on to say that I love it. I honestly think the Sonic looks really cute in this picture. I like how his face looks. I like how his mouth looks. Honestly, the only thing I'm really complaining about is the fact that his hands look so small and that they're blue again. So this also cements what I was thinking before, that Paramount did go in and change the design a little bit, because this is probably something that came out a while ago, maybe in like the teaser trailer that was shown in Brazil. This might have been a part of that, and during then they probably intended to have Sonic's hands be blue, so that's why Sonic's hands are blue in this picture. But I'm thinking in the final movie his hands will be white, as we saw in that render that was revealed this week as well. So here's why I like this picture, and this is probably my favorite picture to come out of all the pictures we've seen so far of Sonic's design in particular. I really like this one because, at least from this angle, Sonic's body is not very humanoid anymore. It looks a lot tinier and less realistic, and I'm really liking that. So I don't know if this is just the angle that is the reason why this design looks so much better in this picture compared to the other ones, at least in my honest opinion. But I like that Sonic's body doesn't look as human-like in this picture, and I also like how his face looks because it makes him look pretty young, and he looks very happy over here. He looks very excited. He definitely has that cool blue attitude in his face, and yeah, I'm just really digging it. And I know I don't even believe the words are coming out of my mouth, because I was pretty hesitant to say something really positive about the design, but I have to say that this is definitely my favorite picture to come out so far out of all the pictures that have been leaked recently. I really do think the Sonic looks great here, and I'm totally okay if this is how Sonic looks in the final movie. I do think it's probably going to be changed a little bit because this looks like an older version due to the blue hands, so I'm still going to be curious to see what the actual trailer looks like and what we can expect from the movie when it comes out in November. But I do want to get back on topic, but the reason that I want to mention the screenshot, besides the fact that it had just come out, this screenshot really stirred a theory in my mind as to what Sonic's age in this movie is and how that could have an impact on the plot. So in this picture, I mentioned earlier how I think Sonic looks really young in this picture. I think the main reason for it is basically his face. I think the way that they have his eyes designed in this movie makes him look a little bit younger. You know, his pupils are a lot more circular and take up a lot more of his eyes. I think that for some reason makes him look a lot younger. And in this picture in particular, Sonic looks a lot shorter and he looks a lot more, like a koala bear. He kind of reminds me of like a hedgehog version of Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. He looks like that tiny minuscule character who was very young in his age and very young in his personality. That's the vibe I'm getting from this picture. And this makes me think, is Sonic in this movie gonna be a child? As you all know, Sonic is typically a teenager in his games and in the TV shows that he's portrayed in. I think the youngest I've ever seen Sonic be was in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, where, Sonic was a teen, I think he was 13 years old technically in that show, but he acted very childlike in that show, and he really seemed more like a 10-year-old to me, more than like a teenager, but that's just my opinion. So this picture in particular really stirred the thought in my mind that, what if Sonic is a child in this movie? What if Paramount decided to put Sonic at a different age than what he usually is? And what does that mean for his character development? What does that mean for the movie plot itself? And why this could mean that there's going to be future sequels to this movie already planned? Whether or not Sonic's actually younger in this movie, I can't really say. This might be just the way that Sonic looks, but he will still be a teenager. Paramount has already changed a lot when it comes to the design, so I don't know how much else they were willing to change with Sonic, including his age. But if they did change his age, then it would make sense with how Sonic is looking right now in the movie. And if he was, like, say 10 years old or younger than that, then that could be a huge difference in terms of how Sonic acts, because Sonic could be a lot more irresponsible, a lot more bratty, a lot more childlike, and he could be a lot more difficult to manage for Tom. And that might make for either a more interesting plot or a more annoying plot. So it could be more interesting because if you have Sonic be a younger character, then he has a lot more to learn from his baseline. So one of the great things about Sonic and his video games and his TV shows is that he seems to be more like someone that people look up to from a character perspective. So a lot of the people around him are very flawed, Tails in particular and Amy, and they all look up to Sonic because he exhibits maturity, he exhibits confidence, he exhibits a lot of great admirable characteristics that everyone wants to be. But if Sonic is younger in this movie, then he might not have those characteristics. He might not be as confident or as cocky as he really is. He might not have the maturity to understand that, hey, maybe I shouldn't go into a shop and steal something, or maybe I shouldn't be destroying that, or like doing this. Maybe I should be a little bit more responsible, things like that. These are things that Sonic could be learning as a result of being younger. And I think that would be an interesting premise for the movie, because this would be Sonic's first time on planet Earth in the human world, and obviously it being his first time, he's not going to understand a lot of the ways that people work in this world compared to his own world. So he could be making a lot of different mistakes, and that could be leading up to the reason why the cops want to capture him. Beyond him being like an anthropomorphic hedgehog from another dimension, he could also be causing a lot of havoc, a lot of trouble across the city and all that, and that could be another motivating factor for the government to want to capture him. And this could be easily explainable to Sonic's immaturity if he was like a younger character. Now, do I think this would be a good idea for the plot? I think it could go either way, honestly. I think since they're making Sonic look so different from all his other iterations in the video games and in the TV shows, I think why not? Just make Sonic younger, make him more separated from the other iterations of him in the franchise. Because in that way, this Sonic will have a much more distinct identity, a lot more of a distinct image and personality from the other Sonics, and maybe people will have an easier time being more open-minded to this Sonic instead of going like, oh my gosh, he doesn't have socks, he doesn't have gloves, he doesn't look like he does in the video games, this Sonic design sucks. Because you all know that's basically how everyone feels about this. And like I said before, I'm pretty open-minded to changes and different interpretations of Sonic. I'm very welcome to seeing how other people interpret it, as long as it's not like terrible. And right now the movie hasn't really given me any reason to think that this interpretation would be terrible. Just being honest. Design wise, I'm pretty okay with it, and I actually like how Sonic looks right now, at least from this picture. I think he looks very adorable, and I think he looks very young, and I think that could make for a very interesting plot point in terms of Sonic's character development, because Tom is an adult, Sonic will be a kid. There could be a lot of like bickering and back and forth between the two characters, and Tom could learn something from Sonic, and Sonic could learn something from Tom. Tom connecting to his inner child, Sonic realizing that he needs to be more responsible with the powers that he has and his responsibility responsibility to save the world. There could be a lot of cheesy kid movie lessons thrown in about those things if Sonic were a younger character. So I think it's very possible that Paramount could take that direction because, you know, in that way, Sonic would be a little bit more appealing to kids as well, you know? He wouldn't be like this teenager that was very mature and very confident and knows exactly what he's doing. He could be a kid that likes ice cream, that loves toys, you know, things like that. And I know a lot of people are probably cringing at the things I'm saying right now, but you know, what kid doesn't like things like that, honestly? And like I said before, I think writing Sonic from that perspective could be a very interesting twist on his character. I would love to see what Paramount would do with that if that is the actual case. Like I said, whether or not that is, I'm not sure. But it's an interesting idea, and I will really be excited if I end up being right, because I just think it'd be such an interesting concept, and I'd be really looking forward to seeing their interpretation of that. But what do you all think about this theory that I have? Do you all think that it'd be a good idea to make Sonic younger than he usually is in this movie? Or would you rather have Sonic be a teenager and make him more similar to his more typical portrayal? Let me know in the comment section below. And then also let me know in the comment section below how likely you think that I am right, that Sonic will actually be younger. Do you think it's very likely, or do you think Paramount is more likely to stick to what Sonic usually is in terms of age and personality? I actually think it's a lot more likely that Paramount would do something completely different, just because they don't seem like they're really sticking close to the source material right now. They really seem like they're going off and doing their own little thing with Sonic, you know, from the eyes, the lack of socks in the shoes, no gloves, his design as a whole. I really don't think Paramount is caring that much about what Sonic usually is, what its core design is, which is both a positive and a negative. So it is what it is. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you like videos like these and want to see more in the future. Follow me on Twitter at RidersDX or join my Discord server, the Spongy Garden. And this is Riders, riding out.